I just woke up next to a river in Montana, and I have a story that I want to tell, but first I need to make some coffee.
My name is Charlie Voris, and I've owned a full-service video production company for just over 20 years. In this video, I'm going to tell you about a specific film that I created that both boosted my exposure as a filmmaker, as well as taught me a big lesson in permitting and content licensing. Stay tuned for the story of making my film, Primordial. Okay, so I finally made it into Glacier National Park. The day just kind of got away from me, so I'm now kind of leading into the last few hours of the day, and I'm hoping to get somewhere cool by sunset. Anyway, I'm on Going to the Sun Road here in Glacier. So the story that I want to tell takes place in September of 2013, and for my 30th birthday, I wanted to celebrate by going to Yellowstone all by myself. I had never been to Yellowstone before. I just wanted to go and just like immerse myself in the park and aimlessly explore. I got to this camp spot really late, slept for a few hours, then I got up in the dark and headed out to this spot that had a bunch of hot pools, and it looked out over the lake. And it was also raining and hailing, and there was thunder and lightning. And that ended up being probably my favorite shoot of the week that I was there. There's some deer. What's up, buddies? And then I started hearing bugling off to the right. And bugling is when like bull elk start doing these mating calls in the fall. This really haunting and like alluring sound. And so I followed it, and eventually I came up on this bull elk that was right out in this pasture, and then I just started rolling. That scene is what opens the film. So after the week of exploring around Yellowstone and the Tetons, I took all the footage home, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with the footage, but I wanted to make something for myself to kind of mark this transitional period in my life. And so this project ended up meaning a lot more to me than maybe I thought it would. I came home, and as I started sifting through the footage and filtering things out and playing music in the background while I would do it, this band Sigur Rós was often kind of like in the circulation, and I always felt like the footage just sort of resonated with their music. They've got this really sweeping, kind of enigmatic sort of landscape, vast sound, and I always felt the best looking at this footage while that music was on. Keeping in mind that I had no commercial intentions of this video. It was for myself. I wanted it to just kind of be my own little personal art project. But I stumbled across this song called Byam Byam Bumbalög, which is actually like an ancient Icelandic folk song. There's many bands that have played their own version of Byam Byam Bumbalög, but Sigur Rós's is, in my opinion, by far the coolest. And so I selected that song and basically just kind of laid out a sequence of all this footage and cut it very musically. I was pretty happy with the piece, and I put it on my Vimeo channel and shared it with a few of my friends, and tagged it in a couple groups that they have there on Vimeo. So after the video had been live for a little while, and it had gotten the Vimeo staff pick and had accumulated, at this point, over 100,000 views, I finally got a call from a lady from the licensing and permitting department with the National Park Service. And embarrassingly, my first thought was that she must want to buy my footage. I had a rude awakening when she then explained that she had some concerns with my video, and though she congratulated me on it, she said she really liked it. She essentially said that they discussed in the office that they think the video may be in violation of their commercial filming guidelines, as they couldn't find my name on record for having purchased a commercial filming permit. So I tried to explain to her that it was for personal reasons. It was just my birthday, and I went and explored Yellowstone by myself for a week, and I had no intentions of doing anything commercial with it. At which point she said, "Well, is that your name at the end of the video?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "If people were to Google your name, would they be able to learn that you're a professional filmmaker?" And I said, "Yes." And then she asked me, "Is that spirally logo at the end your business logo?" And I said, "Yes." Based on the commercial filming guidelines, what I made was a commercial for myself. The content that I put out there could very easily then lead to generating revenue for me. Once she explained it that way, I definitely saw that, and it never had crossed my mind in any way that this could be considered like commercial footage. And so I agreed that I understood that it's considered commercial footage, and asked her what my options are, and she said, "Well, there's two ways we can do this. You either need to delete the video or retroactively pay for a filming permit." She said typically we don't allow that, but she really liked the video, and she believed that I did not mean, any wrongdoing. But she said she was willing to let me retroactively pay for a commercial filming permit, and then I can leave the video online, and then the video would be classified as commercial, and I could repurpose the footage however I wanted. And initially I thought this was going to be like a couple $1,000s. So I got nervous when I asked her how much it was, and she said $380. And I said, "Done." And I apologized profusely and said that it'll never happen again, and I really meant no harm, and I'm more than happy to pay $380. And so we worked it out, and I paid, and she sent me a copy of my filming permit, which then permits me to use that footage in the future for any commercial purposes that I may want. This over here is called the Weeping Wall, just so you know. It's basically always just raining off the cliff onto the road. Super cool. So I've told this story to many people over the years, and a pretty common response that I get is like, "That's so lame, you had to pay. These are our lands. We pay for it with our tax dollars. It's a free country. You should be able to film wherever you want." And frankly, I would have paid double. The amount of work that it takes to protect places like this is so difficult, and you're constantly working against all these knuckleheads that think it's a free country and they can do whatever they want to these places, and it's incredibly hard work. And so, for one, it means a lot to me to be able to use my footage in that way, but it also means a lot to have contributed to, just look at this place. It's freaking nuts. Since that trip that I took back in 2013 and the film that I made, I try to make a point, once or twice a year to do a project just for myself with no direction from anybody, just sort of an exploration. And it doesn't even have to be good, but it's just like doing it to do it. And giving yourself an opportunity to fall in love with the process again. That's kind of a key component to staying passionate about this. And when you visit places like this, it's not too hard to find the passion. I've ended up licensing footage from this video to Nat Geo Travel and the Discovery Channel and PBS. and a handful of other syndications. And it also got featured in this viral YouTube video called How Wolves Change Rivers. I think last time I checked has like 24 million views. And so it feels good to like have contributed to, I guess, the world of viewership that's connecting with national parks and hopefully being inspired and feeling connected on some level to these places through some of the shots that I've done. So, you know, when I think about success as a filmmaker, it's pretty easy to get caught up in the finances of success. But for me, a big part of success is whether or not I've had an impact on the world around me, and most certainly an impact on myself. Like, I feel like I've contributed in a way that means something to me. In that regard, I feel quite successful. Just go spend some time in nature and let it change you. It's important to note that the criteria for filming in national parks has changed dramatically since I shot Primordial. If you want to get some footage in a national park, you're going to want to visit their website, and I'll put the link in the caption of this video. I would just make sure that you're complying with all of the regulations and guidelines that they have in place. They've opened it up a lot though, and I think for the most part, as long as you're not a huge crew, you can film pretty much whatever you want in national parks now.